2, 1. Sweet. And we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got this guest on here today. I'm very proud to call him a friend. I'm very proud to call him a person in my network. There's so many things I could call this guy. This guy's name is Israel W. We call him Izzy. What's up, dude? How you doing?
What's up?
Thanks for doing this today, man.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, man. So if you guys caught the first segment, we tried to go live just a couple minutes ago, and it was all messed up. The audio wasn't coming through, so I decided to stop it since we were early on and just start over. But things happen, right?
That's what happens when you make a mistake. You got to start over.
Ooh, dang. Spin that fire already. Dude, I like your shirt. What's it say?
It says pugs, not drugs.
So they kind of can't see the bottom there, but there we go. Pugs, not drugs.
Pugs, not drugs.
So why pugs, though?
Because I have one. I got a pug and Bichon mix.
Okay.
His name's Odie.
Yeah, man.
And I think he's more famous than I am. So definitely more people like him than me.
Hey, man, we're all famous in our own minds, right?
That's right.
It's all good. I remember Odie. I remember when you got Odie. So our past is kind of extensive. You know, we got to know each other. How long do you think it's been now?
One of the first times I remember seeing you was out in Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
And that's got to be, 4 years ago or more?
Yeah. Probably about 4 years ago.
4.5 years.
Yeah, man. So, dude, I'm proud of you, dude. So,
Proud of you.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. It's been a journey for sure. I remember, I had a tough time staying clean when I met you, and I asked you to sponsor me, and that's how we really developed our relationship in this process together. And when I talk about the process, it's the process of recovery that we both are in today, and that's why we're sitting here today and doing this podcast, so we can spread the message and promote awareness of the disease of addiction. So that's what we intend to do today, right? So what's been up, man? Tell me about what.
Living life
let's catch up
to the fullest.
Yeah.
Doing everything I can to get better one day at a time.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I noticed that pretty little car you drove up here today.
I'm trying to be humble. I wasn't going to talk about it.
Well, it's too late. I brought it up.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's cool, man.
I joke all the time about it's a drug. It's a dope fiend driving the dealer's car. It's beautiful.
Wait. What can you explain that a little bit more? I'm not
I'm a dope fiend.
Yeah.
Not today. I'm recovering, but I never imagined being able to drive what I believe to be the dope dealer's car, like the high end. 300. It's a Chrysler 300.
Okay.
It's a big body jump.
Yeah, I got you now.
It's a dealer's car. Not my car.
Right.
I shouldn't be driving that.
But we earn things.
I like PT
process.
Cruisers.
Yeah, that's right. When I met you, you were whipping that PT Cruiser.
3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. Because one is not enough, right?
No, not at all.
Never.
Yeah, it's an addiction of its own.
That's right, man.
Yeah, cars are my new addiction. There's no doubt about it. Cars and car parts and.
Okay.
Yeah, it's never ending. It's
ridiculous. Man. So we earn things in recovery, right? But it's not about those things, For me, anyway. I mean, it's definitely a plus, to have things, have toys.
It's the fringe benefits of recovery.
Okay.
You hear it said a lot, if this wasn't fun, if I wasn't enjoying life, if I wasn't living life to the fullest, I wouldn't still be here. I'd be out getting high.
Yeah. Because
for a time that was fun and I enjoyed it. And it took away all the stresses and the worries and stuff. And then at some point it didn't. And I like saying that too, that it's not about the monetary things, but sometimes it is. Yeah. Sometimes for me it is. I have to see the evidence of change.
Yeah.
In order to be okay with where I'm at.
Right.
And
it kind of, in a sense, for me, grounds me. It's okay, I see all this stuff that I earned because of my recovery.
Yeah.
So,
well, just the simple fact that I have five. I got 5 cars, a motorcycle, and not even that I have them. is what my point is that I have them, and they all have insurance. They all have registrations that are legal. They have tags. They're all legal, and they could be driven on the road legally right now. Like,
That's
doesn't
crazy.
matter what they are.
Yeah.
That's insane for me. Like,
Yeah.
I never had everything at the same time. I didn't have a license, or I didn't have insurance, or registration was bad, or
Yeah.
like something
So
was
you
never
got that,
right.
You got that multi-vehicle
Everything's
discount,
straight.
right?
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy that today marks 5 years, 5 years, 5 months, and 5 days clean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's 555.
Yeah,
And
it's
if
around-
anyone knows what that number means, it's a spiritual number for change.
Yeah.
So today you've changed your life. You've made a life for yourself in recovery, dude. I've seen it firsthand, knowing you for the amount of time.
I won't ever take all the credit for that. There's there was a point in my life where I had to hit my knees and I had to ask a power greater than myself, whatever that was, because I didn't understand it then.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that for years cursed what I call God. I cursed him and said, I can't wait till I die so I can spit in your face for all the things you put me through. I had some very negative ideas of what a God was, what a higher power was, and misguided, and so like when I got here, when I first hit my knees, it was the first time in 20 years that I was teachable. I became teachable, beaten and broken enough to admit that maybe I don't know everything, maybe that I don't know the right way, or I don't know what's best for me.
Okay.
And,
so you've turned it over in a sense to a power greater than yourself,
and I believe you have to. I believe that my hands running the show got me to where I was.
Yeah. I absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. So I shared last Sunday, it was a week ago today, that I celebrated 2 years clean, right? And it was honored to have you there, man.
I wouldn't have missed it.
And you were there for my 1 year, but you surprised me the first year. So anyway, you pulled me aside after the meeting and you said, because I was telling you and I was sharing about how I'm in the process of starting my third step right now, which talks about we've made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. And I was sharing how on a lot of days I'm very resistant to that. I still want to live Aaron's way. I want to do what Aaron wants to do, and I don't want to give up my control, right? And the funny thing about control is that we think we have it. But you told me, you gave me some kind of example where I have to sit in the passenger seat and allow the God of my understanding to drive the car. So I wanted to talk about that today because it's like
scary feeling. It's no different than getting out of the driver's seat and sitting in the passenger seat and watching the steering wheel turn.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah, man. That was such a good metaphor that just like spoke to me in a way that I've never thought of it before. So,
and it's amazing once you start seeing things happen and transpire in your life that you're not responsible for. What we call God incidences, not coincidences.
Okay.
There's just been so many, I can't name them all, but there's been scenarios and situations and people met at certain times and things happened. And it's like, man, if anything, any little piece of this puzzle would have changed, it wouldn't be the way it is today. And it's like, I have to believe that there's something, greater than myself that is pushing buttons on a button board somewhere, controlling everything, like pushing things my way or making opportunities available. And like the car, that's one of them. Like, I didn't have the best credit. I didn't have any history, credit history. I, for all intents and purposes, shouldn't have a $22,000 car. But I did what I was told to do.
Okay. So I struggle though. And that's why I wanted to talk about this. How does one turn their will and their lives over? And is it a daily thing?
Getting out of the way, man. Like a lot of times it's, we have a set way of thinking and doing things, and that's ingrained. For 20,
I think that's part of the problem.
I was a user for 20 years, and I've only been clean for a little over 5. So it's still sometimes more natural for me to react the way old Izzy does than the way new Izzy does.
Yeah,
and it's hard to break habits. Old habits die hard, they say. And
believe me, I know. I struggle.
A lot of times, it just takes me stopping and sitting for a few minutes or seconds or thinking the process through, thinking, okay, what would turning my will over to my higher power in this process look like? Does it mean me going in and demanding something at a job or whatever, or putting in the work and waiting for the reward to come? Like how would that look? And 9 times out of 10, it's the answer is clearly defined by, is it my thinking or is it the thinking of others and the process? And like that's how I've made most of my decisions. Like I still want to do silly stuff sometimes. I'm not perfect. I make bad decisions.
You
picking up isn't one of them.
Well, that's
right?
That's where
the
we
one
have
I
to
can't
start.
make.
Really,
that's the one I can't make. I make a million mistakes in a day. As long as picking up isn't one of them, then it was a good day.
That's good. That's a good way to think about it.
But yeah, turning your will over is it's no different than it's a surrender. It's a surrender. We surrender many times in this process, and turning your will over to the power of a power greater than yourself is it's a surrender. You surrender into the process. You're surrendering to a new way of life. That's what we're told we need to have: honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness.
You mentioned getting out of the way, and you mentioned getting out of the way to allow that power to take control, right? You also mentioned, what was it? You said stopping and thinking, right? Yeah. Taking the time to just stop instead of just reacting. Yeah. For me, it's the disease of addiction is so ingrained in who I am that my first response is usually the wrong reaction, right? It's not the way I should react. But I have a hard time just stopping and thinking before I react or respond to something or someone.
First, before I forget it, let me say that I think one of the most important parts of step 3 is prayer.
Okay.
Like I have to pray. I have to ask for things that I don't have. I have to ask for the willingness to do things I don't want to do. There's a lot in prayer, and even whether you understand it or not, maybe you want to call it something different. Call it meditation. Sit quietly, think, process what's going on, process the options in front of you. If you want to call that prayer, so be it. But back to what you were saying. What was the last thing you asked me?
Well, I was talking about how you have to stop and think before you react.
Yeah.
Or respond.
So we have two ways of reacting. We have rational thought and emotional. Right. Okay. So we can act rationally or emotionally. As a using addict, you naturally react emotionally. So a feeling triggers the way I'm going to deal with this situation. You make me angry, I yell, scream, fight, throw stuff, break stuff. That's just how I reacted.
Are you talking about me right now?
No, I'm talking about me.
Okay,
I'm keeping it on me.
Okay, because
if you can relate to that,
I can relate.
And
unfortunately, I'm not proud of some ways that I react a lot of the time.
Right, and there's a laundry list of things that I'm not happy about that I do, even still today sometimes. And but the key is to react rationally, and that requires that split-second thought of, if I do this, what happens? How does this play out? Who do I hurt? What do I have to do? Because I don't know about you, but I don't like adding stuff to an 8th step or a 9th step.
Well, I'm not there in my process, so I don't even know how to begin.
Right. Well,
the
list is going to be however many pages long right now if we were to put it. And if I react emotionally and do, things that I'm not happy or proud about, that list is going to get longer before I get to it.
I see.
So
and that's just more you have to address down the road.
Yeah. I don't want to add stuff to my writing.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's times I don't want to do it now, but
right.
I want to add stuff to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, man. So, we talked a little bit about, and I'm gonna shift gears here a little bit. We talked a little bit about like meeting each other early in my process of recovery, which I guess in a sense it was an earlier part of your process too. Yeah. So I liked what you had. You had already guided me to a recovery house at that point in time. You were like, check this out, talk to this guy. I called him, I got into that place, and that was the first like major decision I made for my recovery in a long time. And at that point I didn't have much clean time, and I was just willing to do anything to like change my ways, right? So I took your suggestion, moved into the recovery house, asked you to sponsor me because I know it's been suggested in this process to get a sponsor, you know, and take suggestions. So I did that. Except I had a hard time following your suggestions, and it wasn't your fault. But I know I shared in a meeting pretty recently, a month or so ago, in PA, where you showed up to that meeting and you talked about how you had a hard time with that, and like you kind of took on that responsibility. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because it intrigued me. Because you know, we help people in this process, but we can't be responsible for how they react and respond to certain situations.
Yeah, absolutely. In this process, you get close to people, you build relationships. You know, you change acquaintances to friends and friends to family. You build bonds with people that are not easily broken, and build trust that you know, is not easily broken. But there comes times when, you know, look, the bottom line is I'm responsible for my own recovery, and each person is responsible for their own recovery. And
That's right.
Early on in this process, you know, and I'm sure it's much like other people have been through the same thing, have felt the same way. You tend to take on other people's recovery, and you feel a little bit of responsibility. You know, as a sponsor, I feel responsibility to my sponsee to make sure that they get this.
Sure.
Right. And maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm not supposed to take on that responsibility because, again, it's not my responsibility. It's theirs.
Right. Your recovery is your own responsibility.
Right. But I feel like the delivery of the message has to be right. It has to be correct. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I can truly say, Izzy, that when you were sponsoring me during that period of my life and my process of recovery, that I wasn't ready yet.
Right.
So I don't, you know, for what it's worth, like, you can forgive yourself, man. Yeah. And I don't know if you have.
Well, I did. I beat myself up for you know, quite a few years. Like, there's always in the back of your mind. It's that's your journey. Yeah. That's part of your journey. It took me a while to realize that, and that's why I shared that night. Like, you know, for a long time, you question yourself. Did I do something? Did I say something wrong? Did I not say something right? There was this piece of the program that I didn't give him that would have kept him here, right? And the bottom line is, man, you will beat yourself to death thinking about what could have, should have. Yeah. You know, there's people that we've buried in the last few years that, you know, we're family again. They were family, and it's unfortunately it's not going to stop. But,
you know, I got chills just a couple times and. Since I spoke last in this brief minute or so, because I remember when you came to the hospital after I overdosed, it just hit me.
Yeah,
like, it just remembered. Yeah, man. Yeah. And, like, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about that.
That tells you how much I wanted you to get it. I moved in with you for 2 months while your parents went away. Right?
Yeah.
I was living with you.
Yeah, so
I thought that I could keep you on lockdown and, like, make sure you don't get high and shit.
But I remember there was one night that you came home and you pulled into the driveway and I was, like, blitzed, you know?
Yeah.
I don't even remember I don't think you stayed that night.
Probably not.
I think you rolled out, man, and I don't blame you. But look, I don't want to talk about it too much, but I overdosed in my parents' bathroom one night, and there's a song about it on my YouTube channel. I wrote a song and recorded it, so check it out. It's called Never Again. It talks about that night and what it was like, my recollections from that experience. And I was just talking about it the other night with my girlfriend, is like, and it was last night and she wanted to talk about it, and it's hard for me to relive that traumatic experience. So I got to a point in the conversation where I was like, can we stop talking about this?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to relive that. It was so painful, the pain that I put not only myself but the people that I love today in my life through, and they love me through this process. You know, and you were one of those people. You showed up to the hospital, man. You I was in bad shape, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality of this disease is so real. And it's just so scary. And I was at a meeting last week, the day after I celebrated, and this guy was sharing about how he just wants to use so bad, And it would be so easy to just go
Mm-hmm.
get whatever drug, load it up in the syringe, and the fentanyl is going to be a peaceful way for him to end it all.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just talking about how he just wanted to do that so bad. And I was like, I felt for him because it's so hard to come into recovery and feel all these feelings for the first time and deal with things head on. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. So for the people in this process of recovery that do it on a day-to-day basis, eventually it gets easier.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's times.
The thing is, like, and the misconception is that life's going to get better. Life's going to get easier. Like, I'm going to stop using drugs and stop drinking, and life's just going to get better.
Life doesn't change. We get better with dealing with
life
it.
Doesn't change, man.
Right.
Life is life. It's that's the thing. Living life on life's terms. Like, it's not going to get better. I will get better at dealing with life. I will get better at dealing with situations and relationships and jobs and positions that I'm put in. So, like, ultimately, the only thing that changes is my perspective. Like, I'm happy now because I can sit long enough to be okay with whatever situation comes my way, because I did a third step, because I put it in God's hands, and I know that no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. You know, there was a few months before I got this beautiful car that I didn't have a car on the road. Like, and I was beating myself up. Like, I got like 4 years clean. Like, how do I not have a vehicle on the road?
Right.
Right. The blessing was that my cousin, you know, bought a $500 beater and got it legal on the road for no reason, because he didn't have a license. Right. He couldn't even drive it, but he had it, and we were able to use it and drive. Like, that's one of those God incidences, right, that I was talking about before.
Yeah,
things happen that are out of my control because I'm doing the next right thing, because I continue to do the next right thing, and, you know, do what I was taught to do here.
Yeah, man. And that's kind of like, that's where I feel like people develop the trust in a power greater than themselves, because things happen that are beyond their explanation. And that's kind of where you shift and make that shift to, you know, turning it over in a sense. That's something that I just like had the realization of just now, you know. This thing is truly a process, man. Like, every single day, if I'm doing something for my recovery, chances are I'm going to learn something about myself for my recovery, or how to have more of an open mind, or, you know, become more willing to try something different. Because that's what it comes down to, is we have to do something different today. If we want to have different results in our life, we have to do something different. If nothing changes, nothing changes, right? There's so many cliches in this program that we hear, but they're all true.
Yeah, absolutely. Every one of them has truth. And I think that's why some of us say, oh, I hate this, you know, this saying or this cliche. It's because
it's true.
It applies to your life, and you probably don't like that.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. No, I love all the cliches.
Yeah, they're good, man. You know, you mentioned about losing people in this process.
Except meeting makers make it.
Okay.
That one irritates me.
Yeah, why does that irritate you?
Because you're just making meetings.
Yeah.
If you're not putting in the work, it should be a little longer. You know, meeting makers make meetings, and step workers stay clean or something.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, that's the only one that irritates me.
Okay. Well, we can twist things to our liking any way that we want.
Right.
That's what we.
Yeah, it's my process.
That's what we do. We rationalize too. That's one of those things in my process that I struggle with.
Yeah.
I can do something and rationalize the reason I did it. And you know, my girlfriend, she is one hell of a woman, and she likes to point that shit out to me. You know, you're rationalizing your actions.
You said I could cuss, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
why?
Rationalizations and justifications lead to masturbation, because you're only fucking yourself.
Oh my gosh, dude. Unbelievable.
I love that one. That was
okay. So that's all for the podcast today. Tune in 2 weeks for another guest. Just kidding, man. So look, I just wanted to thank all of our listeners for tuning in right now. Just take a moment to let people know that the live comments are open. So feel free to comment in and share your suggestions. And there's one thing that Izzy had an idea, he wanted to kind of involve some of the people in his life that's seen him through his active addiction into recovery, and talk about what that was.
Yeah, it was, my suggestion would be that if you knew me in active addiction before I got clean, give us an example of you know, the most insane thing that you saw in my life then, and like one of the most beautiful things that you see in my life today as a recovering addict. Like because we have the built-in forgetter, right? And I'm curious to know what people who knew me then, what they remember the most, what stands out the most to them then, and that still know me now, what stands out now.
Yeah.
Like,
So if you're a part of Izzy's process and you're watching now, feel free to drop a live comment, and we can come back to that a little later in the episode. One of the things that I want to share real quick that my sponsor shared in the live comments, he said, "Meeting makers make it, but if all you're doing is making meetings, you ain't gonna make it."
my man.
So that's good. And,
no, that you bring the body, the mind follows. That's what
right.
I've also heard that one too. So like that should be the end of, you know, that first one. Meeting makers make it. Yeah. Going to meetings is the start point.
Yeah.
But there is some work that needs to be put in around here that will change your life, man, and for the better.
That's right. I think that cliche about meeting makers make it is what it is because the more that I make meetings, the more I'm going to meet people in this process that are going to help me change my own thinking. Yeah. If I am willing to take suggestions. So I started telling you a little bit before the show started today is that I made an important decision for my recovery. And if any of my home group members are watching right now, I apologize, and I'm going to talk about it tonight at Group Constance after the meeting. But I found a new home group in this area, and it was a difficult decision to make because for my recovery, the 2 years that I just got clean, I've been an active member of my home group now. Yeah, and it's been my home group since day one. Right. So it was a difficult and a hard thing for me to do to switch home groups into a new area where I don't know as many people. Yeah. But it's an opportunity for me because, see, there's so much clean time in this new home group that I joined on Friday. And there's more opportunity because I'm getting the same thing. I'm getting it in my own backyard as opposed to having to travel. And yeah, it's tough, though, making decisions that.
It is. And the bottom line is that the only thing that's guaranteed in this life is change, right? And especially in recovery, your process will change. It evolves, right? We change jobs, we change relationships, we change, locations, homes.
We change our underpants.
Hopefully, if you're living by the spiritual principles, you're doing that on a regular basis. But no, we change, and part of that process might be changing home groups, might be changing sponsors. And some of the most difficult things to do in recovery, I have found, come with the biggest rewards, right? Step 4 and point. I don't know if you've gotten that far yet.
Not yet.
But step 4 can be a painful process for some people. Sure. It leaves you raw, right? But the reward afterwards, well worth it.
The freedom. Yeah. It's freedom. I've heard it described as.
Yeah. So like changing, I know I've had to change home groups numerous times. If I'm being honest, the first time it was for a resentment. Somebody told me I couldn't have my dog there. Yeah. And
I remember that.
I got butthurt. Right?
I think that was one of my old sponsors that told you that, actually.
And I got butthurt.
Yeah,
right?
man.
But this process teaches me that I wasn't being respectful of others. Space. Yeah. And of course, at the time, it was just because I was being protective of my dog. How can you tell me I can't have my dog? Everybody loves Odie. Why would you not want him here, right? But I
know one thing.
I had time to think on it.
If someone told me I couldn't bring my daughter to a meeting, I would feel the same way.
That might be a little different. I mean, it's a human being.
Sure.
Some people don't like dogs.
Yeah, some people are allergic.
Have right. There's allergies, there's fears, or whatever the case is. It doesn't. That's not my business. It's not my. If they expressed it, then it should be dealt with. But so I ended up switching to home groups because of that. Because I just I wasn't willing to let go of the resentment at that moment, and it worked out for the benefit. Delta meeting.
Is that your home
Wednesday
group now?
nights, 7 p.m. Yeah, that's the best meeting in York.
That's Fat Pat's home group too, right? I know it was. Okay.
Yes.
Shout out Fat Pat.
Hands down best meeting. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I missed the recovery up there, even though I wasn't getting it. I missed the people, I think, is what it was. And there's been a lot of people that we know that, dude, I don't know about you, but we've lost some people in this process. And there's one particular person that we lost that, you know, we were both friends with, and, you know, God rest her soul. It's tough to see people that just don't get it, man. And like, all that I really have, you know, is just for today. And it's so true, man. Like I could pick up where I left off tomorrow in my disease.
My fear is that, like, my fear isn't going back out and it picking up where it left off. It's you know, the fact that it's different today. 5 years ago, you know, maybe you were still getting some heroin.
Yeah.
Actual heroin.
Yeah.
Now you're not. Now you're getting carfentanil. It's killing people.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
I don't want
to
die.
Like a horse tranquilizer or some shit.
Elephant tranquilizer. Why would I put that in my body, right?
Yeah. Well, my fear.
That's the mentality of heroin use, though. It's the stuff that's putting people down. Is the good stuff.
It's not even heroin, though, dude.
Right.
They're putting in the marijuana now.
They're that's scary.
It in cocaine and crack, and you can't just. Next thing you know, it's gonna show up in breweries.
Yeah,
you know, it's
it's scary.
It's super scary. My fear is that I would pick up, relapse, and I wouldn't die, and I would just have to live through that pain and misery.
That's my line of thinking. Like, I'm not the one who's going to be fortunate enough to go back out and die from using. You know, my disease wants me alive and miserable.
Yeah.
Maybe not even using, just alive and miserable. Right?
It's so true, dude.
So, like, yeah, that's what's scary to me. It's just being stuck in that misery, that anxiety, not finding any peace. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just it's unbelievable, man. Like how the disease, even without using, is still alive and well in us today.
Oh yeah, it doesn't go away.
It's doing push-ups.
I used to love that one.
It's doing push-ups.
Down the park.
In fact, that door that's behind you right now, is doing push-ups, waiting for us outside that door right now. You know. Yeah. So that's crazy. So you have an amazing support network in your, and you know, I have the honor and privilege of knowing some of the people in your network, and they've actually touched my heart at times in my recovery. I had the honor to work and privilege to work with your girlfriend, you know, for a while in one of my processes of recovery, and she's awesome. So she commented something. She said, "In active addiction, Israel was a very angry person. Most all of his reactions were made in anger. There were countless things and relationships that were damaged or broken."
Yeah.
And she said some more things, but go ahead and reflect on that.
That's why that was the one example I used, you know, relating to myself. Like, anger was huge for me. Like, there was no control. Like I could go off the handle, fly off the handle real quick, real easy. It didn't take much to push me over the edge. And it was anger to the point of like punching holes in the walls and throwing cups into the wall, and like just one stupid example. I had a cup of chocolate milk sitting on the nightstand.
Right.
And I guess I spilled part of it.
Yeah.
And so like I threw the cup.
Okay.
Right across the room.
Oh my god.
I was so fucking angry over dropping chocolate milk. I threw the fucking cup. Right. Well, when I threw the cup, the spoon fell out and landed right next to me. So it made me even madder that the spoon didn't fly with the cup. So what I do, I pick up the spoon and I flung it, right? And when I did, it glanced off the 32-inch, 42-inch TV and cracked my screen.
Oh my god.
Right. So that's my anger just destroyed shit. Like, I busted windows out of cars. I threw cars in park, going down the road. Like, moving, that's dangerous. That's not normal. Like, normal people don't do that.
I struggle with anger today. I don't know how to react to certain things.
Yeah.
Someone will say something to me, like, tell me the truth about myself, right? And I'll get upset and angry, and I don't know how to react and respond. And that's where we can take that deep breath. Yeah. Walk away if we have to, and come back with a clear head about the situation. And that's easier said than done.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, you know, in recovery, you learn that the people who are working a program and that are talking to you to better you or to try to, like, tell you about yourself, is constructive criticism. They're the ones that care about your well-being, so they're telling you what you need to know to fix, right? And if it ain't somebody in recovery and they're just, you know, being a dick about it and just... calling you out or whatever, you know, stop letting them rent space in your head.
Yeah.
Like, are they affecting my life? Are they gonna, better me, help me get better, whatever? There's some things I need to ignore, and there's some things that I need to take very close to heart
and address. Right.
Right.
So your mom said before your recovery,
she's mad at me, by the way, because I didn't call her and tell her directly that I was doing this today.
Okay.
She had to find out through Facebook. She's mad at me. I'm sorry, Mom. I love you.
Well, thanks for tuning in. So before your recovery, it was Izzy's way or no way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He never took the time to think before reacting. That's exactly what Kate said, basically.
And
but now
that's the emotional reaction versus rational.
It's funny though that she said that because it relates.
There's going to be a common theme here. I can guarantee you that.
Okay. Well, today, this is what your girlfriend says about you today, right? She says, today I get to watch him grow as a person and teach our kids that calmer heads prevail.
Yeah.
Okay. And when he does mess up, because you still mess up today?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Hey, look,
I'm perfect today in my recovery. I don't know about you.
The bear is still
It's not
inside,
the truth
dude.
at all.
Yeah,
man. So when you do mess up, right? She says, and react in anger. She watches you make amends and continuously become a better person, and that's where the hope is, man.
Yeah,
that's where because we can react wrong still today.
But I have a conscience today.
Yeah.
Right. And my conscience dictates that when I do something that's opposite of a spiritual principle, I feel bad about it.
Yeah.
5 years, 5 months, and 5 days ago, not the case. I didn't care. Like unless you were helping me get what I wanted to feel better, your opinion and your feelings didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But
Les chimed in. He just said, from doing dope to spitting hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that's it's a simple way of saying like there's so much that has changed over the course of time, dude. From who you used to be, because I met you when you were clean, right? But I've seen exponential growth.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing, right? You meet people in this process and you hear them share about who they were, and it's like, like really?
Yeah, it doesn't seem
I just can't see it. You're big, you're a big teddy bear, a little fluffy teddy bear.
Yeah, right.
I love hugs. I love, meeting. I love hanging out and like, the camaraderie. But no, that's not who I was. It's not who I was for a long time. And that's the blessing, is that I don't have to be that person. That's not who I was meant to be. Right.
Right.
And I'm not going to get into too much because I know it's a big argument.
Okay.
Choice versus, disease or whatever. But, like I made some decisions that a lot of other people made when I was younger, and my body reacted differently. Okay. That's the bottom line. Like my body reacted differently than they did. They were able to put it down and go back to work during the weekdays.
I see what you're saying.
And I couldn't, and I didn't, you know what I mean? Yeah, like man. It started with the obsession, like, oh, that was good. I want to do it again. That made me not feel this thing. I want to do it again. This kept me from being angry. I want to do it again. And, it became my solution to some problems in the beginning. And, before long, it was a compulsion. It was no longer a conscious decision. No, should we do this tonight? Or no, it was like, when are we going to do this?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Once I make the decision to use one time, it's no longer a choice.
And and now that it's further along in my my journey, it's obviously not right now because I'm not using, but at this point, 5 years, 5 months, 5 days ago, it wasn't a choice no more. Like you hear people, you hear people say, "What's your drug of choice?" And like, weed would be my drug of choice, but heroin was my drug of not choice.
Oh,
I didn't have a choice at the end.
Dude, that's crazy that you say that.
Right?
I mean, I can relate to that.
Didn't
as well.
have a choice.
I made the mistake of going out to Oregon a couple years ago when I had just about 9 months clean. And I, the weed was legal out there, and I believed in the lie that I could
just smoke.
Well, yeah, but I didn't smoke because they have edibles, and I was out there with my family, and I didn't want them to know, so I just ate the edibles. It was like some kind of gummy bear or whatever.
Sucking on a lollipop.
The thing that was crazy, well, no, it was literally a gummy bear, right?
Oh shit!
I say, and they were like, I don't know why they sell the whole bears. That's the first thing. Because all I really needed to eat was the gummy bear's foot, right? And I was on another planet. I'm telling you right now, man. They could just sell gummy bear feet. Yeah.
Gummy bear toes.
And I'm telling you, man, that little gummy bear lasted me all week. I just nibbled off a little corner here and there. But Izzy, by the end of that week, I was at that spiritual bankruptcy that I experienced with heroin.
Right.
And this was after 9 months clean. And so I remember standing in front of the ocean with, you know, the left ear from the gummy bear left, you know, and I was like, should I eat this ear or should I get rid of it? You know, because I was at this place, I hit this rock bottom
void.
Yeah. And I threw the ear out into the ocean. I was like, fuck this, I'm done. Right. And I was like, okay, I'm free again. I don't have to use again. Right. But I got on the plane like the next day or two after that, came back to Pennsylvania, and within a week, I was shooting dope again.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew, like, okay, I can't do anything.
Yeah. My body doesn't know the difference between the drugs, the drink, any mood, mind-altering chemical. When I change the chemistry in my body, my brain reacts a certain way, and it's on.
Yeah, man.
I mean, like right now, I always say I got a gorilla locked in a cage.
Okay.
Right. That's my addiction. My addiction's at bay. It's arrested.
Well, at least it's not a monkey on your back anymore.
Anybody who's been arrested knows what happens as soon as you get arrested.
Mm-hmm.
The second you get arrested, put behind bars, what happens? You're ready to get the fuck out.
Oh, well, sure. Absolutely.
Right. It's no different with my addiction.
All right.
My addiction wants to get out.
Yeah.
It's not happy about me living life happily and smiling and waking up not having to put something in my body every morning.
Okay.
Right?
I got you.
And again, my body doesn't know the difference between street heroin or carfentanil or whatever.
Right.
And a Percocet the doctor prescribes me because my back's jacked up. Right? When I put that chemical in my body, I take the lock and unlock it and take it off. And I just lay it next to the cage, right? Mm-hmm. So my disease, maybe it doesn't know yet that the lock's off, but soon it will.
That's crazy. And it'll come out and just wreak havoc all over your life. Yeah. You know?
Exactly.
That's crazy.
I got to keep that thing at bay.
That's right.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
And I do that. Yeah.
How do you do that?
I do that.
Yeah.
I do that by going to as many meetings as I can.
Okay.
Right. Even with, five.
Right. Because meeting makers make it.
Right.
Unless that's all you're doing, you're not going to make it.
Right.
Right.
I go to as many meetings as I can. We got Delta's blessed right now. I know 5 years ago when I first got clean, we didn't have any. Can I go ahead? I'm gonna break anonymity.
That's up to you, man.
We didn't have any NA meetings in Delta.
Okay.
It's different in our area. In our area, we do both. There's people that do both. We have a tight knit community. It's a small community. We didn't have a lot of meetings, so guys had to do AA and NA. Mm-hmm. And within the last 5 years, we've got a Monday night, a Wednesday night, a Friday night in Stewartstown now, and
nice.
Saturday and Sunday in Fawn Grove.
Okay.
So there's 5 days a week that we have meetings right within
no
10, 15 miles.
Right?
Yeah, there's no excuse not to get to one.
Right.
Not to mention all the AA meetings that are there as well.
Yeah.
And, that have always been there. And so there's no excuse.
Yeah, man. The next town over from here is Catonsville, and there's meetings there every day of the week, too.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I have no excuses. And guess what? You know what's funny, Izzy? There's a meeting less than a half a mile from my house.
That's what's up.
Yeah, but you know how long it took me to get there after I moved here? It took me months, dude. I finally was like, you know what? I want to go check it out. I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
I still only been there one time. But it's on Monday and it's on Wednesday. So I really have no more excuses, right? Yeah, man.
You got to stop making excuses, put them aside.
That's right.
Do what needs done.
So your mom said that one of the best words that she ever heard from you is that you are a work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we talked about that, it's a process.
Yeah, funny little story. What my mom said about it was Israel's way or nothing. Mm-hmm. Even in recovery, I've had to work on that. When I first got clean, my mom didn't want me at her house overnight. Right? I'm sure she didn't want me overnight. She didn't trust me. Right? I came home from rehab and was supposed to be there for 2 or 3 months. That was it. I'll give you a couple months to get on your feet, and then you find a place you're in, whatever.
I bet I can predict what happened. You stayed. You stayed for a while, didn't you?
About 5 years. While
So from
I
3 months
just
to
recently
5
moved
years.
back to home,
Okay.
to our home that we've renovated, and
Okay.
the house that we let destroy and fall apart when we were
Oh,
using. We've been blessed and afforded the
Nice.
opportunity to go back there, fix things up, and it's another
That's
work
cool.
in progress, but
Yeah.
we're getting there.
Yeah,
But
man.
no,
It's cool. Hold on, real quick. It's cool to be able to go back to a place that you caused damage to.
Yeah, that's
and it's
part of
like
the
make
amends.
amends. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Change
absolutely.
things for the better.
Part of our amends process.
That's cool, man.
But yeah, so when I was at my mom's, I don't maybe a year or so into recovery, the neighbors put this real nice desk. It's like a desk that the top comes up and folds out.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it
yeah.
comes up and
That's
out,
cool.
so
Yeah.
it raises, and like I loved it, dude. I was like, yeah, that's a nice ass table. I want that.
Right.
I want that desk, And like as soon as I said something about it, my mom, and her initial reaction was, well, that's not going to fit up there. We're not going to be able to get in the house. And
Yeah.
of course, like, I wasn't taking no for an answer.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Like, it'll fit. We'll make it fit.
Right.
We can get it up there. I'm keeping the table. And so we went back and forth, and it ended up, it turned into a pretty big argument. And I walked out of the house like mad, but at the same time, like guilty, like knowing that that conversation should not have went that way.
Sure.
Right? So this was early on in my process.
Okay.
But like I knew that it wasn't supposed to go that way. And it's not how I wanted it to go, right? But natural reaction for me was to, make it the way I wanted it.
Yeah.
Right. So this is that question that you asked earlier, step 3, how do I do that? Right. I wanted it to be a certain way. And so naturally, what do? I pick up my phone and I call my sponsor, because I want him to co-sign my bullshit.
Of course.
Right. That was Harry at the time. So, he's not co-signing nothing for you. Right.
Good dude.
So I called him and like, this is the situation. He's like, well, sounds to me like you need to go tell her you're sorry.
Yeah.
And, stop being an a-hole. Like, all right, I'm done talking to you.
Yeah.
So I call Kate.
Yeah. Okay. Right? So you're looking for another opinion. Yeah. Okay.
So I call Kate, and it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, dude.
She's like, sounds to me like you just need to go say you're sorry. And, maybe you don't need the table. Like, man, I do need the table. Who are you to tell me that I don't need the table?
Right. So who'd you call next?
I walked for an hour. No, I walked for an hour, and I did the meditation. That's all I knew at the time. I meditated. I was quiet, and I let it sink in, and I thought about what I had learned thus far in the process.
Sure.
Right. So as soon as I walked in the door, I told my mom, I said, I'm sorry. I mean, that's not how I wanted to react. It's not who I want to be. If you don't want me to have the table, that's fine. I get it. Like, I don't have to have a table, but I want the table. Well, things calmed down, and I got my table.
Yeah.
Right? Shit, I was able to keep my table.
Good.
Right.
So you got what you wanted.
In the end.
But
I had to go through the process to get it. Right.
Yeah.
Because if I'd have kept up the attitude, she would have put her foot down and said, F the table. You're not bringing it in here.
Right. So my question now is, what was her reaction?
Her reaction?
Yeah. When you, went back to make things after that walk
she was very appreciative of the fact that I came back right away and said, I'm sorry, and tried to make the amends. Like, you can work steps. You can practice steps long before you work them.
Yes.
A 10th step is me taking an inventory on daily inventory and immediately correcting my wrongs.
Right. Yes.
Right. So like I've been doing that long before I even understood what the step meant or how it worked. Right. Just because I watch other people. They say you can't get this through osmosis. To a degree, I understand it. I get that. But if you come around long enough and you watch other people live the way that we live, like, you will get it. It'll start to become a part of you, right?
Yeah.
Show me your friends. I'll show you your future.
Okay.
Like, if I'm hanging out with good people who are doing good things, then I'll start to do good things.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what? I don't know how I thought of this. Maybe it's because when I asked you what your mom's reaction was, but there's been many times when I'll come home from having a conversation with somebody about something. I don't really have any examples, but my girlfriend will ask me, hey, well, what did the other person say? And I'll be like,
I never even listened.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
And that's, and I do it even with her.
Yeah.
She's like, you're not listening to me right now. You know, it's funny. She's not an addict. She's not in this process, but she certainly
God
tells me how it shows me a better way of life. You know,
Can you open that for me? I got no nails, dude.
I can try, dude. I can try. All right, hold on.
It's horrible.
It's
I got
all
no
good.
nails. I chew on my nails still.
Hold on. There we go. I just wanted them to hear the soda can pop. Let them know that it's soda because we're not drinking beer today.
No, sir.
Right?
No, sir. Copious amounts of energy drinks, caffeine.
Copious amounts. We don't play no games around here. No. So yeah, man, it's such an honor to have you here today. Kate just said, your girlfriend just said, you know, that desk thing situation had happened in the first 6 months of your recovery. Is that what she means?
It was soon. It was soon after I got home.
Yeah. Huh.
So now we're battling. Kate and I are battling about. She wants to put glitter on the ceilings.
Glitter on the ceilings?
Yeah.
Why would you want to go and do something like that?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's disgusting.
I can see if
glitter is like sin, right?
Yeah.
Once you sin, you can never get it off of you.
Ooh, dang, man. Glitter is...
She had a nerve to take a bath bomb full of glitter the other day. I've been finding glitter everywhere. It's all over my desk at work, and I don't like.
That sounds like a mess.
Disgusting.
It sounds like a mess.
I hate glitter.
Yeah, that's.
But
funny.
no, I know we're getting pretty close, right?
I don't know what time it is. Let me check it out. Yeah, it's 11:56. I don't know about you. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah. So, if I could give anybody anything of worth, it would be definitely to make meetings, right? And surround yourself with people who are working a program. Doesn't matter what program, right? Find where you're comfortable. My process started out in AA, and it's now in NA.
Okay.
That's
well, I
home.
do want to clarify, and I'm glad you kind of did clarify that. You said it doesn't matter what kind of program. Make sure that person's not working.
Well, make sure it's not Aaron's program.
Correct.
Or
That's
Israel's
exactly
program.
what I was going
Right.
to say. Make sure it's not
the program of AA right
their
there.
own program. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But
Just
whatever fellowship.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that disclaimer out there.
Yeah. But go to some meetings, build a network, because ultimately, like on my worst days, it's my network that picks me up.
Okay.
It's the guys and a few women who I've surrounded myself with in this process that keep me strong, keep me motivated.
Absolutely.
You know, there's days I don't feel like doing it. There's days I just want to sit in my corner at home and not do anything and not pick up the phone and not answer the phone.
100%. It's easy. Sometimes it feels easier, but we end up like feeling having a harder time in the long run.
How many years did I isolate myself in the corner and not want to be around people? You know, for whatever reason, because I didn't want to share, because I didn't, whatever. And like it can still be natural sometimes to want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, like we're stronger in numbers, and you've always heard the saying, get in the middle. The sheep, the sheep on the outside edge get picked off or whatever by the wolf.
Yeah,
like I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that guy on the edge, in and out, teetering. Am I in it? Am I out? What am I doing?
Yeah, you don't want that.
No.
I was that guy for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. I mean, it took me a while to get where I'm at today.
Yeah,
I don't want to lie to myself and say I got this. I'm good now, because it's an everyday thing. It's a constant process. I got to put myself in the middle of this thing.
Yeah.
So I don't get picked off. Just like you were saying.
Dude, the bottom line is if the grass on my side of the fence is greener than the grass on yours, maybe you should come over here and get some tips on how to make your grass greener.
Right. Dude, I need to buy some new microphones. You just spit that fire. So yeah, it's cool, man. I'm grateful to call you a friend, dude. I'm grateful to have you in this process. I'm proud of you. It's been a journey, and I look forward to continuing along this journey with you in recovery, man.
Absolutely.
To just, stick and stay, people. Stick and stay. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to keep coming back. Just stay.
Just stay.
That's right.
Yeah, just stay.
What's the message?
That an addict, any addict, can stop using.
That's right.
Find stop using, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live.
That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. Such a powerful sentence. Because there was a time I can remember that I didn't think there was a better way, and I didn't think I could stop.
Yeah.
But with the power of God and the people in this program, I've been able to do it one day at a time on a consistent basis for what's 365 plus 365.
You're asking me to do math.
I put you on the spot
right now.
I need a calculator.
I have a phone.
Well, anyways, more than 2 years. Let's just go with that. And you, sir, 5 years, 5 months, and 5 days today. That's
Yes,
awesome, man. So I want to thank all the listeners for tuning in. And we look forward to having you back here in 2 weeks. I have another special guest, Glenn B. from Gettysburg, PA. He's an old timer, and I'm excited, man, because I don't think I've had anyone over the age of 35 on the podcast yet, and this guy is like double that. So I expect.
Well, you broke that record today.
How's that?
I shouldn't even be putting my age out there.
Oh, okay. I see.
I just turned 40 last year.
Shut up, dude.
Yeah, man.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I need to see your ID.
The cover looks good on me, don't it?
It does, man. It looks good. It looks good.
I gotta thank Les for this.
Yeah, he shaved you up.
Yeah.
Dude, it looks good, man. I like the beard. Straight fire. All right, dude. All right, so thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you here in about 2 more weeks from today. Have a good week.
Yeah.
Subscribe now at A.live Panda on YouTube.